Hello, everyone, and welcome to a slightly different show than you are used to seeing from us. We're doing this as part a pre-recorded show as part of our holiday 12-hour marathon to raise money for Give Kids the World. And this show is an idea that came from Fiasco, and I know you told me what you wanted to call it, but I already forgot. So what is it called, Fiasco?
So this is a Walt Disney World tier list. The first time we're going to be doing this, I decided we're going to look at the deluxe resorts.
Okay.
And maybe, if depending on how this goes.
Well, let's explain to people what this is.
Right. So this is a tier list here, and basically what that is we're going to rank all these resorts or whatever topic you choose, depending on what you choose, from basically best to worst. Best is going to be in the category of A, and worst will be all the way down in F. And if something does end up in F or D, I feel like we should preface it doesn't mean that this resort is a failure and that we don't like it. It's basically we're comparing them amongst themselves. So what they offer, their amenities, the quality of the service at that resort, the food that's offered at the resort, comparatively amongst this group of 9 places here. They're going to fall somewhere in between the spectrum.
And we're each going to give these resorts a ranking, what we think. So this resort is an A or a B. Yep. And then Rhino will give his opinion, and then we're kind of averaging them.
Exactly.
Okay. So I did get he's had to explain this to me about 17 times because I'm dense.
And that's fine. Basically, this is just meant to be fun. It's just a fun thing, fun discussion we can have together, and I think it might be interesting to see what we all think of all these places.
I have 10 listed. Is there only 9?
Oh no, you're right. There are 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
I'm over here writing them down, making sure,
All right. So which resort are we starting with, Fiasco?
So I thought we'd start off with one to set the bar, and I don't think we could set a bar any better than Animal Kingdom Lodge. I think it's got a lot going for it as far as theming, dining, service, and amenities are concerned. So I think we'll start there. Personally, I think this is and now if I was to pick my favorite resort, it would be different. But this is just what I'm going to be ranking it not as like a biased favorite, but like what I actually think this resort should be. And I'd put Animal Kingdom Lodge at an A. I mean, I think the food options that they have there is just so ridiculously good. The level of service from the cast members is really something else. That can be said of other resorts here on this list too, but here especially. And I mean, it's a zoo. It's a resort, and it has a savanna with giraffes and zebras on it.
Okay. So you're giving Animal Kingdom Lodge an A. Rhino, where would you put, on a scale of A to F, where would you put Animal Kingdom Lodge?
I guess I would agree. I think the architecture, like when you walk in, the lobby is very grand, and it's, it every time I go in there, it kind of takes me back and takes my breath away almost a little bit, and it's, I don't know. I'd say it's an A. I also don't think it's my favorite of the resorts, but I think what he said is true. It does have a lot going for it. It's got like the Victoria Falls bar that's cool because it's like overlooking like the Boma area and then Chico down there, and I do like that you can see the animals there, and it's I'd give it an A.
And one thing I'm just realizing is, as you guys are talking, that what I think I like about this is that it's not about us ranking our favorites.
Right.
So it kind of takes that out of the equation. It's kind of looking at it, that, we can say Animal Kingdom Lodge is an A, even though it may not be our favorite resort, but, based on what it is and everything we know about it and what we've experienced there, we would definitely put it in that.
Yeah, and I do have a question now that you've said that too. So if we gave everything on this list an A, are we just grading resorts then? So more than one resort can be A, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'll give a little bit of background real quick. This type of list started off with people ranking video game characters, and since it's become something that people do with like food chains and things like that, and I thought it'd be fun to do with Disney properties. But also one thing I'd like to mention is something that came to mind when I was thinking about this is a very high commodity when picking a resort is that you can walk to a park. And there are some resorts that you can walk to theme parks from your resort. And Animal Kingdom Lodge didn't have that, but I still think it's an A because of the things it has instead.
Okay, so Sean, what about you? Animal Kingdom Lodge, where would you put it on this list?
I'd definitely give it an A. It's like not an A plus. I don't know if we're going that
it's
specific.
A through F.
It's towards the low end of my A area just because I think the dining options are great. I think the look of it and everything is great. I think the price point is great for a deluxe resort. It does tend to be on the low end price wise of the deluxe hotels. But my big issue is the location. Consistently from my travel agent clients that have stayed there, they're like, we loved it, it was great, but it was too far away. And it's not even necessarily like it's walking distance or whatever, because everywhere you got to ride buses to something, but it's really just feels far from everything. I still think it's an A. I still think it's a great resort. It has so many things to offer, and you really can't beat the price on it.
I agree. Gregory? Oh, you're not on? Oh, okay. Craig doesn't want to be a part of it.
He's losing his voice.
Oh, who cares? All right, so I guess that's me then. Yeah, I'm going with the A as well. For me, proximity to walk to a park isn't huge. It's cool, but it's not huge. What I look at is from the standpoint of like, how do all the pieces work together? From doing hotel reviews for so many years, one thing that I learned is it is very difficult to get past the first 3 minutes after you walk into a lobby of a hotel. If that lobby is dirty, if it's ugly, if it's unkempt, if it's just not appealing, that is going to carry through for the rest. No matter what you see in that hotel, it's going to be kind of tainted. So that first experience walking in, and Rhino mentioned how grand that lobby is, and it is. It's same architect who did Wilderness Lodge, same architect who did Grand Californian. He's big on those. I can't remember his name, but he's big on those cavernous lobbies. And Animal Kingdom Lodge absolutely gives you that curb appeal, that wow, when you step in. But then there's the cast. The cast members that in multiple experiences that I've had there, the cast members have been superb. I've had some service failures, but they're too few to really mention. I will say the Concierge Lounge, the Kilimanjaro Club at Animal Kingdom Lodge, among the best. I'm not going to give it the best, but it's among the best. It's certainly an impressive lounge. Has a beautiful, overlooks the atrium. It's gorgeous. I also think the rooms are incredibly well appointed. Especially, I don't know where they are in the rehab schedule, but I did see the mock-up a few months ago of the new rooms that are being done there, and it was absolutely spectacular.
I wanted to ask, does this include, is this just Animal Kingdom Lodge, or does this include Kidani Village as part of that, or is that to DVC?
I think that's DVC side. So let's not complicate it too much, because then we'd have to do Beach Club or Beach Club Villas.
Right.
So let's just right now just stick to the resorts, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was going for.
So, all right, lost my train of thought. But yeah, I would give it an A. I would absolutely give it. And dining, not to mention, then you've got the zoo on top of it. But the dining, I've said this many, many times, I think F&B, food and beverage at Animal Kingdom Lodge, the best of all the Disney resorts. So that's a unanimous one. That was easy. All four of us gave it an A.
Starting off with a really easy one, consensus there. The next one, I think there may be a little bit more division. So I'm going to go on next to Saratoga Springs. So for this For this location, it definitely gets points for having a spa. That's something that does matter to me, and it does have a census there. But as far as its dining options there in the resort, although you can walk to Disney Springs if you have a room at Congress Park. If you don't, then it might be a little bit too far. But its dining options just there are limited to Turf Club and Artist Palette. Not that many options. And Artist Palette's currently undergoing a renovation, so there's a lot of construction going on there. So you're very, very limited there. And also, not to mention that there's a good chance, depending on where your room is, that you won't even be that close to the dining options that you do have, which is a huge negative for me. I'm going to put Saratoga in the D for personally me, but I'm interested to see what you guys think.
Well, honestly, this is the resort I have the least amount of experience with, and I have definitely, of the Walt Disney World property, this is a place that I can tell you I have stepped on the least amount. Not because I don't know it, it's never felt included to me. I can't even in my mind right now recall what anything at the resort looks like, really, to be 100% honest with you. And I feel like...
But that in and of itself, given how
Yeah.
much time you spend on property, in and of itself, that's a statement about the resort.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that there's...
That thing draws you there.
Right, exactly. Like, even the resorts that I could say, like, oh, I haven't stayed at or I haven't spent a lot of time with, I'd be like, yeah, but I've been there because I've gone to eat here or I've gone to eat there. And I didn't even know what the restaurant was called till you just said that. I mean, I could have remembered it, but it was one of those, that's how, like, kind of where it is in my mind. So I would put it at an F. I would put it toward the bottom of the list solely for that reason, and I don't want that to be any sort of reflection on the quality of the resort or any of that. Just for me personally, and that's where, like, I just have literally no experience with it. Yeah. So,
Sean, what about you?
Oh, it's easy for me. It's an F. Like I don't. There's nothing appealing to me about Saratoga Springs. I'd rather stay at a moderate resort than stay at Saratoga Springs. If I had the option, I would stay at Riverside or French Quarter. I think that it is way too big for what it is. The buildings themselves look like apartment buildings. I didn't think the restaurant was anything to go, write home about. Walking distance to Disney Springs doesn't really appeal to me that much. I like Disney Springs fine. I just am not going to... It's not like walking to a park. Like, I don't consider that the same thing. And the price is good, but I'd rather pay a little more and stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge by far. And it's just not something that I care for particularly. I think it's great for large families, especially on the DVC side of things. But it's just very confusing. I don't like the layout, and it's just so overwhelmingly big that just even trying to navigate it and find its way around. I think the treehouse villas are way too far away. They're practically at like a different resort, and I just don't. Sorry to this resort. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
I understand. I think it's also important to mention that this is one of two, at the time that we're recording this, one of two dedicated DVC properties, right? You can still get rooms there as hotel rooms, but this is a dedicated DVC property along with Old Key West, and on December 16th, Riviera will join that club as well. And even among DVC members, not unanimously, but this has been referred to as the resort of last resort. You can't get a room at the resort you want, but there is availability at Saratoga Springs, which is one of its pluses in a lot of ways. Because it is so large and there are so many rooms there, there is usually availability at times of the year when other resorts fill up, other DVC resorts fill up like that. So that is one of its perks. I am not as harsh on Saratoga as you two are. And I do think their food and beverage is awful. Their quick service and their table service leave a great deal to be desired that needs a complete overhaul there. I do think the rooms are beautiful. The newly renovated rooms in particular are really getting rave reviews from people. I do like the fact that Congress Park is a very short walk to Disney Springs.
That's nice.
And that was a big plus for me. There's also an atmosphere there. It's very calm. It's very, very calm. And that, to me, is, along with the spa, as Fiasco mentioned. However, it is so sprawling. It is like a city unto itself without any of the charm that would come along with that. For that reason, I would give this, for those reasons, I would give this a C. If it was easier to get around, if it wasn't quite so sprawling, if the food options were better, this might warrant a B. But right now, I think as kind as I can be to Saratoga is to give it a C. So we have 2 Fs and 2 Cs. We split the difference on these, correct?
Yeah, so it's going to just be the average of all our
So it would
choices.
be a D.
Yep.
I also don't care for having to go in. There's no like dedicated inside rooms. Like I don't like it like the motel style where you have to park outside of it and then walk like.
Yeah, they're all exterior
All
entrances.
exterior entrances. I'm not huge on that, especially for something that's a deluxe resort. So I also thought that was a drawback. I will say on the positive side, because I had just thought of it, there's not as much like turnover in people. Just because people who are staying there tend to stay like anywhere from a week to 10 days or 14 days, because it's like people staying longer times, so you don't have as much of that noise factor of like, and the chaos of like
Right.
every day being this drastic turnover.
Right.
So that's for what it is, I guess.
Okay, Fiasco, what's next up?
So kind of on the same topic, we're looking at Old Key West. A lot of similarities to Saratoga Springs as far as kind of being off the beaten path and not having a huge reason to draw people there, which I can definitely see. I can definitely see the appeal to that for people who want to stay there and not have large crowds of people wanting to come to that resort for things like you would have at Animal Kingdom Lodge. But I would still put this around the same tier as Saratoga Springs, being around the D area.
So you're giving Old Key West a D.
Yes.
And Saratoga a C?
Oh, no, I gave Saratoga a D as well. But
I thought you said it was a C.
well, I gave it a D, but it was
No, you gave it a C. You gave Saratoga. You
He
just
said,
gave.
he said D. Yeah.
Did I? Could
Yeah.
have
So
sworn
he
you said
we
C.
said C, D, and 2 Fs. Yeah.
Oh.
Which just still works out.
But it
to
still
be
works
whatever
out
it was.
to-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you had said a C. All right. So you're giving Old Key West a D.
I give it the F for the same reason. Now I didn't realize the other one was also dedicated DVC resort. I think that probably has to do with why I've never really spent a lot of time there. I have been to Key West and I do remember Key West though. I'm giving it the F because the bar is a closet, and then I'm also not like Olivia's is fine. I've eaten there once and it was whatever. But yeah, I'm just gonna give it an F.
For me, Old Key West, I'd give it a D, just because the room renovation was fantastic, but it still has like the exterior entrance. The price is pretty good, but it just feels really far away from other things. And comparing deluxe resorts to deluxe resorts, I just don't think there's anything enough to give it that, like, paying that much money to just stay there.
See, I couldn't disagree with any of this more. First of all, I think while it's a large resort, it's not nearly as sprawling as Saratoga. I think it has a charm that is unmatched with other resorts. The size of the rooms here far exceed with the exception of the Contemporary and the Polynesian, they far exceed the square footage of other deluxe resorts. I think Olivia's is wonderful. I think there is a charm at Old Key West. Plus, it's a personal favorite. The last hotel I stayed at with my father before he died was Old Key West. So we had a family reunion there. So I do have a lot more, I think, a much more of an emotional attachment. But I think Old Key West is an outstanding property. I give it a B. So what does that put us at?
I think that would put us around like a C minus. So C, I'd say C it is.
Okay. All right. Well, who's next?
All right, so next is a personal favorite of mine, and I think yours too, and that is Wilderness Lodge. Mm-hmm. This, again, doesn't have the walking perk where you can just walk to Magic Kingdom like the other resorts around it. However, I think it makes up in every other possible category that you could think of. I think the dining there is great. The cast members there are at a level of their own. They're just stellar cast members. And the theming. You're still in that Disney bubble, but for me, I mentioned this numerous times, it takes you into this wilderness escape. And I can't get enough of that resort. And for me, it's an A.
Okay, Rhino?
Yeah, I think I would give it an A too. Again, I love that grand lobby. It's got that really kind of cozy feel to it. I like that the hotel looks like a bear from the back of it, although it's getting harder to see the bigger the trees are getting. But I think Geyser Point is actually one of my favorite, still kind of not forgotten about, but glazed over sort of places, because you can sit and even if you don't drink, you can sit there and have a non-alcoholic drink or whatever, and some snacks, and like the electric pageant parade, whatever comes by, and that, I don't know, I like it for that reason. I like what it looks like. I like what I feel when I'm there, and I think that's a big nod to it. So I'll give it an A for that.
Sean?
An A, 100%. I'm a very price per value person, and I can sometimes find Wilderness Lodge for within $50-$60 a night of Old Key West and Saratoga Springs. It often sits around the same price as Animal Kingdom Lodge, and you're that close to Magic Kingdom. You can just take a bus right over to it. You can easily get over there and get on the monorail and go to Epcot. You just have too much proximity for like the price and value that you're getting is phenomenal at Wilderness Lodge.
See, well, my fandom, my newfound appreciation for Wilderness Lodge comes as a result of the DVC side, Copper Creek and Boulder Ridge. It's a little different on the hotel side for me. I agree. Cast members are phenomenal. I think food and beverage, fantastic. The rooms always left a lot to be desired for me. The concierge lounge here was literally an afterthought. It was like, oh, hey, we should have a concierge lounge. So nothing dedicated was built for it, and it kind of shows. I think like Geyser Point, as was mentioned, its proximity to Magic Kingdom. I think it has and the cast members are amazing. So this would not be an A for me. If we were talking the DVC side of things, we'd have to create a new tier for how good it is. But all things considered, I'll give it a B.
Okay.
I was teetering on that B side too, so like.
I think the unanimous A, I think that's pretty much should be our highest tier. And since this wasn't unanimous and you are tilting more towards B, I'd say we put it in the B tier.
Okay.
I'd agree with that.
All right. What's next?
All right. So next we are heading on over to the resorts that are walking distance to Epcot, starting off with the Boardwalk. Now, the Boardwalk's got a lot of appeal to it. It's a lot of people's favorite resorts, and I can definitely see why. Like I said, you can walk to Epcot, also walk to Hollywood Studios. So that's 2 parks right there. There's lots of dining options around the Boardwalk area, and also a lot of cute little small shops you can go to. However, none of the dining is personally my favorite. I know I really like Flying Fish a lot, but other than that, none of them are really like super good to me. So that would be a plus, but not a huge plus. I like some of the dining at other resorts.
Oh, what's your grade?
Okay, I'm gonna put Boardwalk at a B.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a C. I like the proximity to a park that you can walk to. I do think it has, it's got a charm to it. I hate that nightmare chair. That's the little girl chairs that'll suck your soul right out of your butt if you sit on them. I don't like the crazy clown pool. It makes me uncomfortable, and I hate seeing children pop out of its mouth. And I am just like, but at night I love the Edison bulbs and like the actual boardwalk and stuff like that. So I do think it has some charm to it, but it's a C for me.
Okay.
I'm like B, I guess. I'm at that BC range. The price is better for the Epcot resorts for Boardwalk. But the rooms, I haven't stayed there in a while, but I don't remember being particularly impressed with the rooms. I don't care too much about. I hate the clown pool, like you had said. I hate the chairs. The nightlife does have the charm to it. The restaurants are good, but even I don't know. It's not. I don't need to seek it out necessarily.
So you give it a.
It's like the low end of B, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
BC, somewhere in there.
All right. Well, I'm giving it an A. Because I think of the resorts on Crescent Lake that loop around Epcot, this is the best. This is the best place to stay. I think the rooms are gorgeous. I also like the variety of rooms. They have those garden rooms that are 2-story.
The cottages.
The cottages.
They're so cute. Yeah.
Concierge. This is the best concierge floor at Walt Disney World, hands down. I mean, it's not even close. It's amazing. It's amazing, and they're really the cast members there are phenomenal. One of my top favorite restaurants in Orlando, let alone Walt Disney World, the Flying Fish, is home here. I think Big River Grill is actually quite good.
I do like Big River Grill.
We gave it a great review the last time we did it. You add to that the nightlife. Jelly Rolls, probably the most popular place for nightlife at Walt Disney World right now.
Not the dance hall.
Not the dance hall. So you factor all this together with a 2-minute walk to the International Gateway entrance of Epcot. I feel it deserves an A. So where does that put us?
So I think that puts Boardwalk at a B.
Okay.
Got some C's, B, and A. So yeah, B sounds about right. But that moves us right on next door to the Beach Club. The Beach Club. So I've stayed here before. I've been here a lot. There is a spa connected in between Yacht and Beach Club, so it's fairly accessible. Again, you can
it's not a spa. They do some massages and stuff. Spas, for it to be called a spa, they need to be doing full service. They need to be doing hair and nails. They need to be doing facials. They need to be doing wraps. They need to be doing massages.
No, they do all that.
They do?
Yeah, Haley's gotten a facial there, and she's gotten mani-pedi. I
stand corrected. I haven't been there in a while because it wasn't a full spa. But
yeah, it must have been upgraded recently because that's my go-to spa now. And they have a small waiting area, and they don't have a eucalyptus steam room, but they do have a bathroom you can change in and stuff like that. And they have the bathroom bar where you can brush your teeth and do whatever you want there too. But there is that. Beaches and Cream is always good, and then you have what is considered amongst many people to be the best pool, again shared between Yacht and Beach. For this, I'm probably going to also have to tilt towards B. As far as the sit-down dining, not some of my favorite options I'll get to Yacht Club later, but not some of my favorite options in this area, although you can walk to quite a number of things. It's still not going to make it to the A list for me.
So B for you. What about you, Rhino?
I'd probably put it at a D for me. I remember.
Really?
Yeah, I just kind of remember. I don't know. It'd be C or D. Just I feel bad giving it the D. Like I enjoy the lobby of both of those resorts. You're hit with that smell when you come in. And it's very distinct. But then like. Is it Beach Club has what's the dining called? That's where the
Cape May Cafe.
Cape May, yeah, that's what I thought.
Not my favorite.
Cape May, and then also that Corey loves to call it Martha's Graveyard. Is that there?
Martha's Vineyard, yeah.
Yeah.
The bar.
Which I did actually enjoy. I did have a really good experience there with like a trivia thing, but it just kind of like. The resort's there, and I do like the proximity to the park, but it just doesn't do anything for me personally. But I'm not really a big fan of any of like thing that's like anchor ship themed, that sort of thing. It doesn't. Everybody's trying to do it in Massachusetts. I'm like, give it a rest, people. We live on the water. I've seen it.
Okay. Wow, bitter.
Yeah.
Sean.
It'd be a B for me. It's a little higher priced than Boardwalk, but I think it's worth it to have the really nice pool. It's enviable of a pool compared to the other ones. I really like Cape May Cafe, but I just really like seafood and it's all you can eat with that. So I enjoy Cape May Cafe a lot, and the proximity to Epcot, it doesn't, I've never been in there and felt like cluttered and congested necessarily. I've heard people talk about the smell coming out of the restaurant sometimes, but I've never smelled that. I've never had that problem.
No.
I don't go all the time.
But I don't like seafood, so I'm not.
You don't like seafood. But yeah, I'd give Beach Club a B.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with B as well. Again, if I'm looking at just the hotel side, if we're looking at DVC, it would be different. But looking at just the hotel side, I think the lobby's okay. There's nothing exceptional about it. think Cape May Cafe is good. I'm not making any. I think the character breakfast there is quite good, but I'm not going out of my way. Beaches and Cream is very kitschy, and it's got a charm to it.
I
But
forgot about that.
I thought and it's good. I mean, Beaches and Cream is fun, and the food's good. I think the rooms are very nice, especially after the last redesign. But I don't think they're I like not. They're nice. They're nice, and that's what I can say about Beach Club. It's very nice. It's certainly not average. It's above average, but I'm certainly not putting it in the same category as Animal Kingdom Lodge or even Wilderness Lodge. From that standpoint, obviously the pool's a big draw. So yeah, mine's a B.
So that puts it with a D, a C, and two Bs. I'd say that probably puts it around the C tier.
Yep.
And that draws us right into Yacht Club.
And I'm going to tell you right now, there are people watching this screaming at us.
Oh, I know.
Sure.
That we just
100%.
gave that Beach Club is a C. They're like, you're out of your mind.
I'm
but
sure
that,
my face is on a dartboard somewhere right now already.
all right. So what does that bring us to next?
So we're at Yacht Club, which a lot of the same things can be said about Yacht Club as Beach Club, the same pool, access to that spa. But then also we obviously have different restaurants. You got the Yachtsman, which I do really like the Yachtsman, but for the price point the Yachtsman is at, there's plenty of places around the same area I would rather go to. And then there's Ale and Compass, which if you haven't seen are
garbage.
worst restaurants.
Was it terrible?
It's
I
awful.
haven't eaten there yet.
It was my number one worst restaurant on property. It still stands as the recording of this video.
It's not worse than the Boathouse.
You mean
Port Orleans.
boat rights?
Or Boat Rights. Yeah,
Oh,
Boat Rights.
yeah, that's the worst.
Nothing is worse than Boat Rights.
But my vote on Beach Club was for a B, and Yacht Club, I love the lobby, by the way, too. I actually prefer the Yacht Club lobby over the Beach Club lobby. But as a whole, Yacht Club's going to fall in a C tier for me.
See, so if I gave Beach Club a D, I would give Yacht Club a C. I like the lobby better in Yacht Club, especially around the holidays. And I guess I like them both at the holidays, but I like the Ale and Compass bar part of it. I haven't gone to the restaurant, I guess.
Save yourself.
Yeah, so now I know not to. But I do like the Yachtsman. I do have a soft spot because that's where we went when you hired me with everybody. And so I've had multiple
That's right, yeah.
experiences now there that have been, nice memories. And so I have that. And the Yachtsman feels a little, I don't want to say classier than Beach Club, but it's just got a little bit of a different vibe, a little more elegant, I guess.
Yeah.
Or it's going for regal, whatever. But I would give it a C over giving the other one a D.
All right, Sean.
I would probably say a C as well. On the low end of it. I'm not that big on the Yacht Club. I definitely like Beach Club better. I usually recommend Beach Club over Yacht Club to people. The remodel I really like. I didn't like Yacht Club at all before they did the remodel on the rooms, but they're very nice. And I do like the lobby. I always fool with that big globe that's in the lobby there. And I've never had a bad experience with the staff. Everyone's always said the cast members are not very nice at Yacht Club. That's always been the go-to thing. I've never had that experience, but it is something I've heard quite a bit. Yacht Club's the least one that I would probably pick of the three that are on Crescent Lake for whatever reason.
I have a history with Yacht Club, and I have experienced many service failures there. Now it has gotten better, I will say. I think the cast members have improved. I agree with the lobby, and I agree with the rooms. But I haven't had enough positive experiences for it to be further up my list. I will be kind, and I will give it a C.
That's right.
Because it's somewhere between C and D. Mm-hmm. But because I've seen improvement and stuff, I'll say C, but I certainly wouldn't go any higher than that.
I feel like I need to say I haven't stayed at all of these either. It's only my experience. Some of these are just experiences based on,
But that's why we have a
whatever.
I think we have a mix.
Yeah,
of,
right.
I mean, I've stayed at all of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But we have a mix of where people have stayed, so I kind of like that.
Yeah,
I kind of like the perception.
It's the vibe you get when you just come
right.
through, you know? Yeah.
Exactly.
And I have stayed at most of them. Yacht Club is one of the ones that I haven't stayed in, but I've been at a lot. But that's our second consensus. So it's C's across the board there. So obviously Yacht Club is going to end up in the C tier. Now we're bringing in the big guns over by Magic Kingdom, seeing where they're going to fall. So we're going to start off with Grand Floridian. Grand Floridian Resort and Spa.
Oh, can I go first?
Oh, please, go, take it away.
I won't be cruel because there are redeeming qualities to it. So I'm not going to give it an F, but I'm going to give it a D- because the condition of those rooms, the absurd cost, the fact that the walkways are actually highways where all their transports are going back and forth for housekeeping and maintenance and stuff like that, to the point where you can't walk from one building to another without having to get out of the way of another service vehicle coming down. And then, of course, there were the absolutely awful cast members I dealt with when I stayed there with my mother back in May. So for that reason, Grand Floridian Cafe is bizarrely enough now a bright spot because they've turned that place around. Citrico's is constantly good. And so, and its proximity to the Magic Kingdom on the monorail, that's why I won't give it an F, but I'm certainly not giving it above a D.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Grand Floridian is not my style. It feels a little too dressy for me. But with that being said, I do recognize some of the things that I really do appreciate about it. And it's for a resort just in that hotel, it has a plethora of shopping. You have Basin, you have an own dedicated like clothing and cologne store, and then you have the regular Disney gift shop. As far as all the dining is concerned, I've never been to Victoria and Albert's, but I've been to all the other dining locations, and I do like them all quite a bit. But like I said, it's still not my style. It's still just not my cup of tea. For that reason, it would fall in the C tier. But I do like the extras that it has, plus that transportation, too, is a huge plus.
Okay, so we have a D and a C. What about you, Rhino?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking right away, like I definitely wasn't giving an A. I was thinking maybe like a B, but I agree it's not my style. It does feel a little stuffy for me, but I can see where some people would come in there and it would feel very I don't know, like elegant, or like the idea of what you have. Me growing up being a poor person, going in there, I'm like, this is the imaginary version of rich people. It seems like is what they tried to make, and so I can see that appeal for some people. I think, and I think as far as like groundskeeping goes and stuff, it's a very pretty resort. I don't just again, it's nothing. I never find myself there really. So I'd probably put it on the. I'd say C. I'll say C because I'm saying lower B, but I'm just gonna say C.
All right.
I'm going to give it a B. I have always liked Grand Floridian. I know I don't belong there. Like, when I go in, I'm like, this is not me. But I don't necessarily want to belong there, but there is just something about it. I think
You'll wear your dress basketball shorts when you go in there.
Well, the view of it is so beautiful looking at it from other sides of it that I'm just like, oh my God, like that's where I want to stay. I love the dining options there. I just did Enchanted Rose this past weekend and I really enjoyed it. Didn't get any Beauty and the Beast vibes off of it, but it was very good. It had a very good drink that I was like, this is going to knock me down. And
it's also like $24.
Oh, it was like $24, but it was a very, very strong drink.
Is it made out of gold?
I don't know. It had rose petals all on it. I don't know. It was good though. It's not somewhere that I necessarily want to belong, like in that type deal, but I could just go sit in the lobby and listen to the piano player. It's one of the few hotel lobbies that would want to exist in, essentially, where I don't just pass through it and like, okay, that was the lobby. Like, and a lot of times with nicer resorts, you are paying for the lobby because most hotel rooms are just hotel rooms across the board. The only knocks I give it is the price. For one, it's insanely expensive compared to what you're getting or what you could get other places. And I don't like that there's no walkway to the Magic Kingdom at this point. Like, that's ridiculous that you can't walk right there.
Good point.
For that money.
So where does that put us with Grand?
So that's a B, a D, and two C's, so it's also going to fall in the C tier. And that is going to bring us over to a resort you can walk to the Magic Kingdom from, and that's the Contemporary. This is a definite A to me right now. I'm just going to get that out of the way. It is not my favorite resort. I've said it on multiple occasions. I don't like the corporate vibe, and out of all the deluxe resorts, this gives me the most corporate vibe. But looking at what it is for what it is and what it has, its dining, its proximity to the Magic Kingdom, its extras being things like, this is just for DVC members, but the lounge on top of Bay Lake Tower, top of the world. I mean, it's just such an amazing resort, all things considered, whether it's my style or not. And I can't give it anything less than an A for that reason.
Okay.
I think I would probably subjectively give it a B. For me, it feels very concrete and cold when I'm there. There's nothing. I guess Corey's saying corporate, but I feel like it's like I'm in the Wicked Witch of the West Castle or something like that. It's cool that I can just walk across the street, and I've heard you rave about the Wave, and I've still only ever had like a drink at the bar there. But I know California Grill is amazing. It's supposed to be great too, and so it's got some great dining options. I stayed in the room once like 12 years ago, and I remember thinking, oh, this room is really cool, and like being able to see the fireworks out the side, you can't beat that. So I'd say I'd put it on the B.
Sean.
I'm gonna give it a C. I love the rooms. Actually, I think they're more kid friendly. They seem more Disney family friendly and like themed in that kind of style. I think the place as a whole has that, like he was saying, the Wicked Witch vibe. It's very cold to me. I don't want to be in it for most of the time. It's until you get up to like the 4th floor or something, like it finally opens up into something.
It just feels like someone's always gonna fall.
Yeah,
like
I don't care for that. I love California Grill and the Wave, but I could gladly just go there from staying at a different resort. That doesn't affect me too much, and I hate the Garden Wing. I do not like that at all. It should not be there. And they try and lure you in with the price being that, and then you're not in the main tower. And like it's almost like deceptive because it is not the same resort as the rest of the thing. And I actively speak out against the Garden Wing. I hate that Garden Wing so much.
All right. Now, this is a solid A for me. Now, again, the general aesthetic of the Contemporary doesn't necessarily appeal to me. I don't like cavernous. I don't like cold. But what is going for it is so extraordinary. First of all, food and beverage. You've got the Wave and table service food and beverage. Wave, California Grill are two of the best places on property. Chef Mickey's, not so much, and the Contempo Cafe. Is it still Contempo Cafe, or is it the food court?
It is.
The food court
yeah.
is. However, the size of the room. These rooms are, on average, about 425 square feet for a standard room. This was one of the first hotels built at Walt Disney World. So they still have that. That's back when hotel rooms were hotel rooms. The ability to get a tower room with a view of the Magic Kingdom, to see the fireworks right outside your window, is unmatched at any other resort. I don't care where you're staying. You're not going to see the fireworks like that from the Poly, from the Grand, or anywhere else. Cast members are phenomenal. It is an incredibly well-run hotel. And all those things considered, I can't ding it a full grade point for being cold and impersonal when you have all that going for you. So this is absolutely an A for me.
So that's 2 A's, a B, and a C. So it's about a B plus for the group. So I'm going to put it in the B tier.
I think my votes should weight higher. No, I'm kidding.
So push it back up to an A. Well, right now we only have one A. Let's see what happens with this last one, the Polynesian. For me, I absolutely love the theming of the Polynesian. I have been to Hawaii, but
I gotta add. I'm sorry. I gotta add one more thing about the Contemporary.
Yeah.
The history of it. The history of it. Okay. There is no other resort anywhere where you're going to find a mural that was done by Mary Blair. That's a Mary Blair mural that is, I don't know how many stories high in the Grand Canyon Concourse. I had to throw that in.
Absolutely. And speaking of history, with our final resort. It's where the Beatles broke up, the Polynesian. That's where the final say was made.
Where John Lennon signed the papers. Yes, that's correct.
That's pretty cool. But for me, like I said,
Well, the Contemporary was where Richard Nixon said, "I am not a crook."
that's all. Yeah, there you go.
That was the press conference was held
There
there.
Good thing we're remembering these things. But the Polynesian, for me, I've been to Hawaii. Everyone's cracking up. That's fine. Never Aulani, though. And I didn't really get to experience Hawaii in a vacation mode because it was while I was in the service. I was there on basically duty. So I still love the theming of the Polynesian. I can't really say what Aulani's like because I haven't been there, but I do love it. The food there, I've mentioned previously, it's not my favorite. So that is a tack for me. However, the room service menu, I do feel is above average. So while as far as sit-down dining, Ohana is not my cup of tea, to be able to order it for room service, I think is better than most room service, if that makes sense.
So, would you give it?
I didn't grade it yet, but I'm
Okay.
We're on page 1 of the thesis.
okay. I'm giving Polynesian a B. I can't give it an A.
Wow.
It does have tax, but I'm going to give it a B.
I'm going to give it an A. Again, I haven't really stayed here. I think I stayed here once one night when they were testing Magic Bands, and I was still a cast member. I feel like for me, whether this is or is not my favorite resort, it still is like what I imagine a lot of people's epitome of vacation in their mind feels like. I think about like where I was from Massachusetts. It's literally the opposite, like type of, the second you walk in there and it starts playing that luau type music, I feel like you're relaxed. And I think I do love Ohana. I've enjoyed. I like that there's a variety of dining options there. I like the view of the Magic Kingdom. I like the beaches that are out there. I don't know. I have a lot of good experiences here. I feel like too.
Sean.
This is an A for me for sure. The Polynesian is I don't think I can think of anything that I think is negative about it.
Yeah.
I think everything. I love Trader Sam's. I like all the dining restaurants. It has a luau option, which isn't great, but it is, at least the option is there. And that's, to me, what gives something an A on this list is like that Animal Kingdom Lodge and Wilderness Lodge, I could exist and have a vacation in there if Disney parks were not there.
Right.
Those are the
point.
three
Yeah.
resorts that I can do that at, so
That's a
it's
good
worth
point.
my money.
Yeah.
So there is nothing wrong with the Polynesian, so I don't know what people are going to find, but it's an A. So
Yeah, it's an A for me as well. Again, history. That and the Contemporary, first resorts to open there. In fact, the rooms at Contemporary weren't ready for the grand opening the couple nights before. So Lucille Ball and a lot of the celebrities that came in for Disney World's grand opening on October 1st, 1971, stayed at the Polynesian. They were the first guests. So technically, the Polynesian was the first hotel to have guests. Yeah. So there's that history of it. It is a caricature of Hawaii, not to the offensive level that Hilton Hawaiian Village in Waikiki is. But once you go to Aulani,
oh yeah,
this is like, okay. But it's an absolute A for me. The size of the rooms can't be touched. Again, like the Contemporary, talking 425 square feet in a standard room. Some great views of the Magic Kingdom and the fireworks. Not as good as Contemporary, but still really good. I've never had a problem with the food at Ohana. I've had a problem with the service at Ohana. And I think that Kona Cafe is on its way back up. And Captain Cook's is among the best counter service restaurants available. The coconut curry, the coconut meatballs.
Yeah.
So
And the pool. And
the pool, Trader Sam's, proximity to the Magic Kingdom on the monorail. I couldn't give it anything but an A. So where does that put us?
So I was more of a soft B, and since you are all such hard A's, I think that's going to put Polynesian in an A. Wilderness Lodge was a lot more.
Talk amongst yourselves with that comment.
But yeah, so here is our tier list. Nothing made it into the F category. We have Saratoga Springs as the only D. Our C's being Old Key West, Beach Club, Yacht Club, and Grand Floridian. Our B's, being Wilderness Lodge, Boardwalk, and Contemporary, and our A's, our top dogs, being Animal Kingdom Lodge and Polynesian. I think this is I think we did a pretty good job. I really do. I think this is a pretty good-looking.
Well, I'm sure the audience is going to have a lot to say about that.
Well, I thought we had to put stuff in each thing, or no?
No,
No.
it
I
can
thought
fall
so,
wherever
too.
we
That's
want
why
to.
I thought we
was
had
thrown
to
a
use
No,
F's and D's.
No, it's based on, these are our opinions. Now, another group of 4 people do this, maybe something shows up on the F list. But that's the whole idea behind it. So I thought this was really fun. This
Yeah, I
was a
did
lot
too.
of fun. So that's going to do it for this. Stay tuned for more stuff from our marathon show, unless you're watching this separately, and then
Don't.
you're
Watch
SOL
something
because
else.
you're going to watch something else. So thanks, folks.